Video game bang, video game bang, video game bang. Video game. Mega brand. Live from the sack, it's the livest. In fact, I'm putting rhymes on this track to put my guys on the map. Cause they giving you the latest on everything on your playlist. This bet the safest, from basements to greatness. Updates, geek news, tech talk, and reviews. They can summarize it so you ain't gotta breeze through. Listen once and you're forever fans. And I'm not saying it because their theme song features Mega Ram. Might think you fly, but ain't nice as my guys. Got eyes on the prize, so like and subscribe. We back in the booth. I think that they gon' eat this up. The ultimate source of all geek media. Other podcasts, they just don't match up. Need proof? You can check the archives and catch up. Stats off the chain, we have rearranged the game. It'll never be the same. Now it's time to feel the bang. Mac.
And Vision, Wanda, and Wonder Man, their whole, well, that's Wonder Man's brother, and that's where Vision in the comics got his personality and stuff from. So there's a whole interesting tie there, and that's one of like the big things that happens in the Vision book that Tom King did, like where they're basing the creepiness off of, like how it's all eerie. That's like a big thing that happens there. But and actually he was in this. I didn't catch myself. One of those videos pointed it out. But they had a picture of Grim Reaper in one of the intros for one of the Era episodes. So it's like, okay, they're pointing to it. So I thought that was pretty dope.
Well, we are live, guys. I just was vibing on the conversation. I figured we just jump right into the show because we got so much natural chemistry going on, man. I don't know why we don't record the pre-shows. Oh my God. Everybody probably says that, like we should. The stuff that you don't record is always the best stuff. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? Cory Vincent here, Video Game Bang. We're back again. And let's just jump through these because we got so much to cover. So joining me is we're lucky every week she shows up because she's so busy and she's got a lot going on. She's got a lot of things. She spins a lot of plates, but she makes time for us every week. What's going on, Lexie? How you doing?
I have to. Y'all are my gang.
Gang.
I'm good. Just, still grinding. Tired, but making it. I've been doing good. Just chilling, working on some stuff.
You got some stuff?
Secret stuff that we're all excited about, but you can't say anything because you're
so good.
Tight-lipped about your job, whereas me and Cory flip all of your reports.
That's the difference.
I really am.
I don't know what it is, but Lexie is has I think it's called integrity or something. But she's
got her integrity.
Yeah, I don't know. I read about it. But if she has a secret or an NDA signed, she will not divulge it, even to her closest, most personal friends. Like I trust.
And it's hard.
Her.
It's hard sometimes. But
imagine
your girl got to keep grinding.
When me and Kyle get into calls, he's like, "Oh my God, guess what these guys are doing? Oh man." We just we dish like little school children. You heard his voice. He's in there. He is our resident butt expert. So what's going on in the butt world, Kyle? Anything to report back?
It's just keeps on going. It keeps, it's a very active world. Maybe not as much lately. A lot of people are sitting on their butts, not really doing any activities. People
but
need to go outside more.
But not you, sir. You've been busy. Around. You're grinding.
I've been, I'm working on stuff, lots of stuff.
That sucks. But back in the day when we do this show, we get to tell you the parts of our lives, the itty bitty details. Now it's just like, I can't really say anything because
we're all just behind so
the
many
things
NDAs.
We're working on are NDA, and we're kind of a big deal on this podcast. Back in the day, we were just talking about what we ate for lunch.
We're all dreamers, man. We were all dreamers, and now we're living the dream.
Yeah. Whoa! Did you just come up with that?
It didn't feel as philosophical as I thought it would.
No,
it
was. It was.
Maybe it was pretty
Write
good.
That one down. Okay. Write that one down. Put it on a T-shirt. Speaking of putting it on a T-shirt, he's kind of waddling his way back into the picture. If you're not watching us on twitch.tv/videogame_bang, you're missing out because Curtis's comedy is the physicality. He's like the Chevy Chase of this show. You gotta look at him right now. He's amazing. How you been, Curtis?
I've been blessed, man. I've been real good. My health has been fantastic.
You thriving? Making some music,
thriving, man. Me and G Money, aka GG. Well, not GG Gamer, G Gamer, the homie Galen. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Galen. Got to drop in on them. Pick Galen up. We was making some music, playing some games. You know, so it was pretty good. We tried to get Cory on the sticks. We missed him.
I know, man. I wanted to go so bad, but I'm a father now, and I got to do fatherly activities. You know, I got the itch though. I have not played any instrument since like maybe a few months before the plague, and I'm feeling it. So he was on bass, you're on guitar. What are you guys working on? Just jamming.
Wait, hold on. Did he play? We both played both. It
was one of those. It was like one of those musical orgies where just instruments are passing hands and
exactly. Man. We're just passing instruments around. It was a fun time. You know what I mean? Kyle, you should have been there.
He probably was
all over the place.
I should have, man.
So we got a lot to talk about on this week's show. We are going to talk about Wandavision a little bit later because I know that was a big topic on our minds. But let's start with the video game news this week because there's some, I don't know. I'll let Lexie dictate this first one. It's all fun in games until they start messing with IPs that you really love. And Fortnite has really gone off the deep end here. They pulled in Alien, which is the Xenomorph. Sorry.
Xenomorph.
I knew it was something like that. They bring in him, and he's doing all the Fortnite dances. He's supposed to be scary and terrifying, and they just turn him into a joke. I know you love this series.
It's a girl.
Yeah.
So it's her.
Yeah.
You said him. Correct yourself.
Wait, it is?
Yes.
Oh, I assumed it's gender. That's so 2021 of me.
Look
I'm
at
sorry.
Cory.
I just assumed. I don't know.
So 2000 and late, Cory.
Okay.
Boomer.
So does this make you want to play the game, or does it feel like it's ruining a franchise, tainting a franchise you love?
So first of all, I wanted to play it when Ryu and Chun-Li came out. I just been busy. And then I saw the trailer for this. I was like, oh, they have a trailer. Like they did the iconic scene when Ripley goes through. And I thought it looked really cool. So, I mean, I don't think they're tainting it because, you know, they're coming out with the Alien show eventually. I don't know when they're going to announce like the live date for it. But that's a thing in the works. So I think it's just them like echoing off of that, like there's new Alien stuff to come, so like let's go ahead and soup up the sci-fi fan base of this. Was it the right time to put this out? I don't think so, because y'all just put out Chun-Li and Ryu. Why won't y'all let that live for a minute? I hate when video games do this. Like, and this is a pet peeve of mine and something that I hope that I don't do myself on our social channels, but I hate when like a video game company like puts out some crazy cool thing. As a social manager, I'm like, okay, let that breathe. Like people are
let it marinate for a little bit, you know?
Let people play, let you have news stories about it for press and everything. Like let people like get on that train for at least 1 or 2 weeks or so, depending on how long the campaign is, and then introduce something else. Don't just throw it out there. I feel like Ryu and Chun-Li just came out last week and now they have Aliens. I'm like, why not have a whole like Street Fighter slate if that's the like why are y'all switching it up? Like okay,
drop one Street Fighter at a time.
Yeah. Lexie, come on. You're what's happening is you're getting older. You don't understand these Zoomers.
No, I do understand Zoomers.
If it takes more than 2 days, they lose interest. They can't do a full week of Street Fighter. No. It's on to the next thing. It's on to the next thing.
They don't even know what Street Fighter is. They know the Alien.
This is what's gonna happen from a marketing perspective. They put out Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
That's all you have that week. Street Fighter probably paid how much to have their activation to shine with Fortnite. What's the value of your dollar if it's just going to be mixed up with another franchise? Like
that's not for them to worry about. Fortnite's just made of money. It doesn't matter. You're just
It's
getting
not the
older,
proper way to
Lexie.
do
It's
it.
these
I hate
Zoomers.
when
I don't
companies
think
do
you
that.
fully understand Zoomer culture. We're not allowed to use the cry laugh emoji anymore. Did you know that?
Who isn't allowed?
Us.
Who isn't allowed? Wait,
Us. We're too old. Like, it's now not favorable or cool to use cry laughing emoji.
no.
So no, I'm dead serious.
Oh,
Dead
that's like
serious.
my favorite one, though.
I'm dead serious. So
Damn
I've been
it.
interviewing candidates for a social media job, and I've been kind of asking questions, just kind of about the general space and stuff. And what do you think of our brand? And asking that kind of question, see what they think about and see what they're right on, what they're wrong on. And I wasn't ready for the criticism for some of these people because one of them joined is like,
Wait, first of all, if that is the case, right? Like we are not allowed to use it. I never use that on my social channel. So what you been doing?
obviously the wrong things.
He's got some funny content going. I guess.
Obviously the wrong things because all the criticism from one of the high candidates, someone I would respect in the industry, was like, so the tone of your brand is very millennial towards boomerish. And I was like, oh my god, that hurt. Ugh. I had to take a 5-minute break. I love the honesty.
God.
I asked for it. I was ready to handle it, and then I started doing more research. That's when I found out about the cry laugh emoji. So you've already obviously streets ahead.
What takes its place though? What's the successor?
They won't tell me.
They're keeping. Oh, that is the play, dude. That's what I would do. It's like I'll tell you what to replace it with if you hire me.
Yeah. So
it's the cry laugh emoji gift. That's the next phase.
That's the new one. Another day and another politician trying to shut down video games. These stories come around every few months. I'm sure a lot of us the last year probably started, for those who, weren't paying attention to politics before, are probably following it a lot more closely now. And some of these people exist and they're real. This guy, for example, he is the Illinois state representative. His name is Marcus Evans Jr. He submitted a proposal to amend the violent video games law and criminal code and ban the sale of all violent video games. So he's putting forward something to ban all violent video games for everyone.
That's going to go super well.
Yeah.
Why?
It's like fighting a tsunami with your hands, dude. Like, what are you going to do?
This guy won an election somewhere, dude. Like, he's not just there because, he worked hard. He was there because people...
That sounds like back in the day when people were like, "Oh, metal music is death." And death metal music.
Let's ban Two Live Crew.
Is like, it's horrible for you. It's from the devil and all this stuff. And I'm just like, huh?
It's wild.
All I'm saying
it's that same scenario.
Is World War II, World War I all happened before video games. People were violent long before video games. We were hunting witches and cutting people's heads off and doing all sorts of wild shit, and video games weren't around back then, y'all.
But how could someone elected to office have an opinion that just bad and wrong? Skip, like, is there merit to this? Who elects a guy that has the view that he's going to go to Washington and make one of his big plights the end of selling violent video games for everybody?
A boomer.
How old is this guy? He's not even that old.
Like, there's got to be like 10 people in that city, like, to vote for him.
Obviously, this is a dead action. This is a fool's errand. He's pandering to his base. Obviously, whoever his base is, and his base obviously isn't
old
the
people.
Video game industry who pays so much in taxes because they make billions of dollars a year by selling video games. A healthy portion of which, incorporate violence. He might. What's next? He's gonna put up a bill to ban the ticket sales and the streaming sales and rentals of violent movies too.
That's next.
He's gonna do that too. Like there goes all his Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone movies that he loves so much. He can't watch Rocky no more. There's boxing in it. There's blood. If he dies, he dies. Get this guy out of here, man.
What's crazy is that he's wasting energy trying to do this. Like you said, it's a fool's errand. There's no way that this, from his actions, knowing the way that this is going to go all the way to the top, baby.
Out of all the problems going on in Chicago right now, like all of the different issues that they have, you're going to like focus on video games as opposed to like, yeah, we have like a ton of homeless people we should probably find homes for. Like, oh, we've got a drug issue, or like, oh, we've got a super high unemployment, or like a pandemic we need to worry about people supporting. Video games, though.
It's that meme of the utopia with the futuristic flying cars, and it's like the world
without GTA.
Is that how he envisions the world without GTA? And then everything's fucking fixed. It's crazy. And maybe it is. Like maybe actually,
he sounds like Dr. Cocteau from Demolition Man. like what I mean? Like what did Dennis what was his name? Dennis Miller? No, it wasn't Dennis Miller. Who's that dude that used to rant? Dennis Miller used to rant. I forget dude's name, and he's like, "You want to see the future? I know the future. It's a 40-year-old virgin sitting at home in his pajamas singing I'm a Oscar Mayer wiener." That's that guy. You know what I mean? Like, where's Zack Snyder when we need him? Touch a boob, dude.
Really?
You know what I mean?
He does need to touch a boob. That would fix everything.
Even
the world
will do.
Man, the world, if everybody would just touch a boob, utopia.
Okay, Skip, you are officially the boob dude. We got the butt dude and the boob dude.
Resident ass expert, resident boob expert. Oh my god.
I'm a boob. He's a boob. She's a boob. Because we're all boobs. Hey, shout out to Kel. Good burger.
Next big news. We kind of let this one slip under the radar last episode, to be completely honest, how this one flew. Maybe that's what happens when I rush the show notes 10 minutes.
It was a busy week last week.
Yeah, sure. But this is a big one. The CD Projekt Red legit got infiltrated and then was big time ransomed. Like the note with the funny letters and everything that had demands, and they, instead of keeping it internal, just tossed it out into the world and was like, hey, we don't fuck with terrorists. We got hacked, and this is what's going on. Did you guys see this? Anybody see this one? Yeah,
it's brutal. We talked about it. The Harmonix people were kind of tossing back and forth, what the heck does this mean? Because it's one of those things that when you're at a game studio, you feel for everyone else at other game studios. What would happen if we had that? I think it was word that people are sent had to each individually send in their PCs to IT to get them completely cleaned out because they had some sort of other stuff in there. And just imagine having an entire studio that's completely spread out amongst most of Europe and have to one at a time send your PCs in to make sure that they're clean of stuff. And then just the amount of weeks of work that was lost on a game that they're trying to take to the Lazarus pit to revitalize it and keep it going. But in what's kind of
this is the second time a major hack like this has happened to a during the time of COVID and work from home. And it's not even the biggest. The first was that time. Remember when Twitter went down for 2.5 days and all verified accounts?
Oh, all the verified people got. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got Kanye, Elon Musk, the president, and they tried to lure everybody into a Bitcoin scheme.
A Bitcoin scam.
Yeah, that was huge, and it was all because they exploited work from home and the security points of failure. So this is what happened to them working from home. Someone got infected. They got all the source files for a lot of shit,
Engine, Witcher, Gwent, and Cyberpunk. They have all of the actual working source perforce files to go through. And what's the point though? What do you benefit from it? They're not gonna buy it from you. They're not gonna buy it back from you. They're not gonna give you money.
You don't think so?
Oh no, dude, absolutely not. Because it's the same reason that the whole we do not negotiate with terrorists. Because the one time you do it, they're oh, now they'll pay us, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can never slip up, and so long as you don't, okay, what is it? What do they benefit? The game is out. okay, well, we know they're doing this DLC, big whoop. No one really, it's not worth that much effort, and like you're not gonna make money off of it.
Well, they did.
Could go to prison. Well, yeah. I guess if you sell it to other people,
that's what happened. So the follow up story is right here. They did not. They went public. 48 hours passed, and then the people who had the source code sold it for I think $7 million on the dark web. So there's got to be value because you basically, I mean, I'm not a developer by any means. So Kyle, like if you have the full source code engine for a major game like Cyberpunk, what can you do? Or what? Someone thought it was $7 million worth.
I don't know enough. I'm not like a back end, programmer or whatever. Like I don't know, like, but like I can't fathom like if everything is already out, like if you buy the game, you have the build, which is a lot of the stuff you can go through and data mine all the stuff and dig through the files for this, that, and the other thing. Like having access to the engine, most game engines are free to use anyways. Like I could go get Unreal or whatever. It's like a very similar thing. There's nothing like I doubt there's anything like super groundbreaking in the Red engine or like.
So is it just the fact that it's the source code for the game?
I guess I honestly think it just seems more cool than it actually is. I would be very surprised if there's anything worthwhile they could get from that.
Yeah, it's as empty.
Could they reskin the game if they wanted to?
Well, no, then you're breaking copyright, you get sued into oblivion. Like as soon as you go public with it, which is like the only benefit to having this information is to make money off of it in a business. But as soon as you identify that this game was released using a game engine that they don't own the rights to, you just sue them into the ground. And CDPR is not a small company. You can just sue them into the ground, and like it's worth no good in the light. You have to operate with this in like the dark web and in secrecy because it's protected in the real world by copyright.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully we can figure some of this stuff out. It's just the way things go, I guess. Let's transition to the next story. There was a special Pokemon event that happened, and I didn't watch it. I don't believe Kyle watched it. Skip didn't watch it. Lexie, you watched PokMalone do his concert.
I did.
PokMalone?
I was so close. Yeah. PokMalone. How was his show?
Honestly, as a Pokemon fan, I was just like, yay, anything Pokemon, year 25, woo! Like, I was just happy that they were putting out a lot of content. The show in general reminded me of like the Fortnite shows because it was virtual. They had him animated, they had different like Pokemon kind of going around him as he sung his like top hits. He also did like a rendition of Hootie and the Blowfish's song. I forgot which one. And then, I mean, that was basically it. And then they put up the link and they were like, that's it.
How many hits did Hootie and the Blowfish have, Skip? Couldn't it only be, oh, I want to be with you?
I think it.
Oh, what's his name? Darius Rucker? Like, I think he had some more.
Oh, he's got a
he's like,
career
yeah,
now.
he has
He's
like a full-blown career. But Hootie and the Blowfish, were they one-hit wonders?
They only had that. I don't remember. Well,
yeah.
You have to do the voice every time.
I think they had one more, but it just wasn't anywhere as big. Because I remember they had a follow-up at that time. I remember watching it on VH1. So like specifically VH1. But yeah, I mean that's their biggest one. They didn't have one much bigger than that.
It's another utopia. If VH1 and MTV didn't stop playing music videos, the world would be a better place.
Honestly,
right.
I wish the concert. I wish like I like the concert concept from the marketing standpoint. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, virtual concert, blah blah blah. But I feel like it could have been bigger and better than what it was. Like, yeah, people were freaking out because it's Post Malone, but then they saw that and it was like, oh, it's just like Fortnite essentially. Like, y'all did the same concept, except now you basically animated a video and slapped it on YouTube, and here's a free concert, and you premiered it at the time that you wanted to premiere. It was like I felt like it was
like a live experience, like the Travis Scott one was, where you're like you can run up like there with your little Fortnite dude and sit down and watch it.
Like I feel like there needed to be more. Like, it would be interesting if they would have like did something like you're saying, like in game or in Pokemon Go or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Post Malone just doesn't have that kind of swing, I don't think, man.
They had the swing enough to buy Post Malone for
their
25th anniversary.
That's true. It's true.
Have a swing
because they didn't want to spend. They didn't want to spend the extra it would take to get Bruno Mars or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because he's on the hot list right now.
He's about to be. He's got some new stuff coming with him.
I like Bruno Mars.
So that was cool, but what caught my eye was this thing they're calling Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm sorry, I don't know the proper nomenclature because I've only ever said that Pokemon's name in my head until this episode. So Arceus is like an ancient legendary god type Pokemon, and the game looks like they're just calling it open world Pokemon. And you're like, okay, all the Pokemons are open world, but this one looked like Breath of the Wild style.
It's very, that vibe.
And
it looks like Tim.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it looks like it's Pokemon the Old Republic because it's like ancient Pokemon land. I'm serious. I'm dead.
Cory said the Old Republic
broke me, dude.
It's the same concept though, like how Star Wars went way back. It's like going to be a whole different. It's not going to be the buildings you're used to, the world.
It's like feudal or whatever I believe is what they called it, the era.
Yeah, and the Pokeballs are seriously made out of wood. Like they're wooden Pokeballs. They're not like all domesticated and trained. And apparently back then they didn't have turn-based battle systems either because it looks like you crouch and crawl around and then you chuck a Pokeball at the Pokemon to catch it instead of like having to go through the entire battle sequence. And then when they were battling, it seemed like it was like real time. Like you'd send your Pokemon off to go battle another one. Did you guys catch anything that caught your attention off this trailer?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So like I have been feeling for a long time like the world of Pokemon is super sick, and I feel like if you can immerse yourself in it, like it's just a good world. Like I watched Detective Pikachu for the first time like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, it's just a fun, immersive world that you can just like. It's optimistic and fun and nice, and it just seems cool to like how cool it'd be to own your own Pokemon. So if you can feel like you're inside this world and truly like a part of it, it's gonna be more fun for the player, and they're all gonna enjoy, running around, exploring, doing that sorts of stuff. I always feel like it would benefit from being a much more like RPG kind of experience. And I think that it's like an interesting step. I think having it all real time is cool. I think some people are going to obviously be pissed off from it because it's different, but like, I think it's a good enough different. And I think the vibe of just like running around in the world and you can just see Pokemon kind of out and about, I think it's a good thing. And not having to like run into the grass and all sorts of stuff.
This is the perfect time too, because like Lexie was talking about it. You were watching Jake Paul or Conor McGregor. I don't know. You were watching somebody do Pokemon box. Logan Paul doing his Pokemon unboxings. And you said the box cost $1 million?
Okay, so he basically bought a base box of the original Pokemon, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know how much he spent on that. It was a lot. But basically,
$3 million.
I think it was a lot. But basically, they have been untouched, shrink wrapped still
since the OG times, like back in the day.
Since the OG time, and I was like, no way. And so I looked this up on eBay because a lot of people are getting them from there, of course. And yeah, there's card boxes going for that much. Anyways, people like you and me are like people that like Pokemon that are famous or popular or have money or whatever. We could actually like go to him and basically say, I want to buy a pack out of his box. So some people were like, I want 3 packs or I want 4 packs or whatever. Now within these packs, these cards are worth a lot depending on what type of card you get. And he has like people there to like authenticate them and stuff. Like I don't know the proper like.
It was like a bad episode of Pawn Stars.
But he has everyone there to like make sure these cards are like real. and are like level 10. I think 10 is like the top, like perfect card that you can sell, right?
Yeah.
So his box was like absolutely perfect. And so this guy's like telling him, yeah, this is a 10. This is a 10. And so he's going through these cards, and if you find like a Charmander, or yeah, I think it's a Charmander, or it's one of them. It's like
Charizard. It's usually the shiny Charizard. Those are worth
shiny Charizards are worth $1 million or $2 million if it's perfect condition and a number 10. And so tonight, when I was watching, he found 3 in a row. Well, not like in a row, but like in different packs. And so, say for instance, I told him like, I want to buy 1 pack from you. He'll say, okay, Lexie, it's your turn. And so he'll go through like, oh, this is a trainer card. Oh, this is a water card, blah, blah, blah. And then when he hits like a shiny card, they like bust this whole thing of confetti. And he's like, oh my God, we found one.
Did Pokemon pay him for this? Do you think? Is this a pay?
I don't know. I mean,
I think they're just riding the wave of the fact that it's such a trend to open Pokemon cards all of a sudden.
Right around the 25th birthday.
That
You know, like it's so perfectly timed.
I will say he has like a whole produced like show set up for this. So I think what happened, because I know he's a huge Pokemon fan, I think what happened is that he bought his like first one and he got really viral with that video. And so then he started like trying to figure out ways to do this, like to involve the community and different people. And now it's like this setup show.
Wow.
And like there's an audience in his house, like when he does it, like, yeah. So it's a huge like production.
You were showing us some Marvel cards, Skip, at the top of the show. Yeah. Are you up on this? What's going on? Why are cards coming back? Even Marvel cards. It's not just the Pokemon blowing up right now.
Just a novelty thing, really. Just, you know, what I mean, what interest, right? What do they call it when you got to put some cheese on top of a loan? They call it interest. You know what? Like, you know, the market. It's just where the interest is. So where people decide, you know, that's where value comes. Value comes from interest, really. You know, what people aren't interested in never comes across as valuable. So scarcity, rarity, and interest. I mean, I love to see it because I'm a big comic book fan, but at the same time, I've only got so much, you know, participation points I could spend on some of these. Some of these Marvel packs are going for thousands of dollars. It's crazy to hear Pokemon cards are going for millions, but that's where the interest is.
It's just a world I don't understand. So wait, I have a binder of cards and I have a shiny Charizard. Why can't I sell that thing for $3 million?
You gotta get it great. So my wife is kind of into this world, so I'm getting a little secondhand knowledge on that.
Every kid did though.
Yeah. I think it's a certain, like, I went through and like looked at like what my old Yu-Gi-Oh cards are worth, and they're not worth shit because they're in terrible condition. But like, they have to be in literally flawless condition, and like not even just like you can't have any scratches or bent corners or anything like that, but like literally if the printing is off-centered, it lowers the grading. Like if there's like a minor like QC flaw, like a tiny little flaw, it's the difference between what would be like $1 million card and okay, it's worth $1.35.
Yeah, like this guy was using like a magnifying glass and like a certain light to make sure there's not white dots on the card. Like they were getting into it. Like he was like, make sure this is a perfect card, and he passed it to the guy who does it, and he's like, yeah,
like wash your hands, wear those like silk gloves, like you're a jeweler.
What?
So the glove thing, he said that people think you're supposed to wear gloves, but actually wearing gloves can hinder like it's some type of pressure and like the sweat or something between the card and the
well, you should not be handling
I don't know these
greasy ass hands.
I tell you what, I will be digging in the bottom of my garage for my Pokemon cards now because I know I got a shiny Charizard and it's probably been manhandled a little bit though. So
oh yeah.
He washed his hands and then he like dried them and then he had like some type of other thing to make them completely dry. And then that's how he did it. But like he did it really fast. And then whatever the shiny cards were, he like put them in another
put them in a sleeve immediately or else it's going to get whatever.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's another one of those things. It's just like, because some people like it, the upper echelon of influencers were like, I'm gonna start putting on Pokemon cards. Like every major streamer did that for like 3 months. Like I bought a bunch of packs. You saw my donation money. I'm gonna buy 9,000 packs and just open them on stream. And just like now the value of them is shooting up. The supply is gone. I know every bookstore and place in town is like sold out basically instantly, and people are being not nice to the people who are selling them. So if you're gonna go buy some Pokemon cards and they're out of the Pokemon cards, don't be an asshole to the people who are selling the Pokemon cards. They're not trying to screw you over. Don't be an asshole.
That's why.
Anyways,
I'm gonna be like Curtis real quick. Get philosophical. They call them influencers because they have influence. I think they overuse that term influencer. Like everybody has influencer in their biography because they have 10 patrons on OnlyFans or something. No, you're not an influencer unless you're booming an entire industry.
Change the economy.
That's a fucking
decision,
influencer,
dude.
Yeah, not you because you're trying to sell Herbalife or something. Like, no, you're not an influencer. Last thing we could talk about before we get into some Curtis's comic book corner is our WandaVision observation / breakdowns. And I just want to say, go back like 5 episodes, 6 episodes, 10 episodes. I can't remember when, but I made the ultimate prediction of WandaVision and I was proved correct. So yeah, I'm kind of like a master at these
What was
things.
your prediction?
Get this out of here. What? Yeah.
I
what's the
knew
prediction?
that they had learned English and that this whole show was based off of her fascination of watching television as a child, which in none of the other canon was ever implied or referenced. It was just something I put together.
It was. And Cory,
What?
no, I'll give it to Cory, but no, he didn't figure it out first, because the first episode, everybody was like, oh, she changed her voice. And then everybody starts speculating this thing and that thing. And then you go back because, WandaVision puts Ultron up there for us to watch. And in Ultron, they talk about their childhood watching all these American.
No, they didn't. No.
I gotta go back and watch Age of Ultron.
I'm not going to go back and watch that
Movie.
movie. You're just trying to trick me into watching the worst Marvel
best
movie
movie
over
ever.
again. I've been
They have a
fooled
whole
before.
scene of it.
Okay. Well, arguably, if I never heard the thing, let me have a win, please. Can I win one time? Let me win just this once.
Okay, Cory, I'll let you win this one.
Thank
time.
you.
Okay.
So, me being the god of all, that's just. So.
I can't.
That was a good episode, in my opinion. I like these types of things. I saw some complaints, and I'm going to name the complainer, David Webb, who said, was it just me, or was this episode not as good because they were just filling in things? So what do you think, Skip? Did you glean any kind of interest? Did you learn? Did you predict this? Was it useful? Was it filler? What's your take?
Yeah, it was very useful. I mean, after so many episodes where the plot was moving along, I mean, that's the thing about a story, right? If you don't make people invested in the characters, then they don't care. And then if you don't move along the plot, then it feels like the show isn't going anywhere. And Marvel balances that very well, and they shift the gears between those things very well. So we had like 3 episodes in a row, I want to say, where it was like plot was moving along. And this one still moved along the plot a little bit, but we took some time to, again, reinvest in Wanda and find out more about why we should care about what she's done. And it did move along the plot too, because we found that there were some inconsistencies. There was as they call it, dishonest or untrustworthy narrators when we found out that the head of SWORD did not give an accurate account of what happened when Wanda visited the facility, asking to look at Vision's body and to see him and whatnot and recover it. So there was many things going along, but I think that's the other thing too. I think when people get so invested in plot and they set their own expectations of, I want to see this thing happen next, and then they don't get that, they kind of start forgetting the details and what actually did happen. I had a long, extensive conversation with a good friend of mine who I'm writing our graphic novel with, my buddy Comics Quirks with Jimmy. Check out his YouTube channel. But that was one of the remarks that he had kind of made another time. And he was like, well, what really happened? There was only this one scene. And I was like, just based off the fact that you said that there was only one scene, just goes to show that like you weren't paying attention. There was multiple scenes that happened. It's a 30-something minute show, and almost no scenes are longer than 5 minutes.
There was
multiple scenes.
I was a little disappointed in one aspect because I loved the point of the episode and the content we were getting, but I totally thought this was going to be a retcon episode for their backstory. Which in a way it kind of gave in some new details, but I thought they were going to rework the possibility that Magneto was their father or something, or do something more X-Men-y. Maybe there's an X spray painted on a wall. You know, I could have been anything. I thought that's where we were going. It was a retcon type of thing.
See, you did exactly what I said. You set expectations that you had no business setting. They weren't going in that direction, and you tried to be the writer for the WandaVision show.
I know.
And guess what? If you were Wanda and you had hex powers and chaos magic, you could have done that. But you're not. See,
I have two things. The first one is with Hayward, like in that shot where she comes into the facility and he's like, not many people have powers that can blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, do we think that was like, I don't know. I feel like that wasn't Hayward. Because how do you know that my powers do that? You know what I mean? And that scene just seemed awkward, like him like pushing her buttons, like, you can do it. And then once she gets to the house and all that happens, and then she's thinking like, oh my God, I'm in all this grief, and then her powers come out, and then she like creates vision from like fragments of like the vision, like all these things building up together. I'm like, was that really Hayward? Or was that like, I don't know. I just feel like that wasn't him. Like,
I think that was the real him.
You're thinking deeper into the background.
Yeah,
here
I think. Yeah. Well, did you notice he also didn't introduce himself as acting director like he had been like to everyone else? He introduced himself as just director. Yeah. So he was himself untamed. I mean,
if that was actually
he's a manipulator
Hayward there. Yeah, of course. But like, if that was actually him, wouldn't you think like he would have introduced himself like that, since he's been playing that line throughout the whole thing? Like, I feel like that was like something else. Like, and watch later down the road, and I don't even know if this will happen, but that's like Mephisto, like everybody's been saying. But I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I've seen people saying they don't think it's Mephisto, or that Mephisto will even be a part of the MCU because how valuable the Chinese market is, and they don't like devil stuff. Like demons.
They can edit it out for that market.
Well, I've seen that
that's why you have localization. Like,
well, I mean, you can't. Localization is not shooting two different versions of the same show.
They haven't done that yet, and I don't think they would do that in this case. They might take the abilities of Mephisto and reskin him though, like as a character like Nightmare or something. Like there's definitely room for them to do that, and so we might get Mephisto type, Mephisto light. Did you guys actually see the trailer for the Loki series?
I didn't see the new one.
That show looks like it's going to be like WandaVision levels of cool. The premise kind of became more clear. He got arrested by time cops or whatever, and he's got to like go through different times and realities. And I think one like theme or common thread they're going to do is use Loki to justify like real human mysteries, like DB Cooper's disappearance. Like if you see in the trailer, he's up in a dressed just like him with the glasses and the hair. He jumps out over the ocean, like what DB Cooper did to escape with all the money, and a couple bills go flying. And they also spotted a Polybius arcade machine in the background. Have you guys heard of the Polybius thing? It's this urban legend of a video game back in the 80s that if you looked or played, you'd get like cripply addicted to it. And it was like a urban legend, like a scary thing. And they put one of those in the background of the Loki trailer. So they're thinking he's going to go through different timelines and justify weird, unexplained mysteries, like the Bernstein Bears or something could pop up. And, it's all because Loki erased it or something. So that looks like it's going to be a good-ass show.
So to kind of contrast all of your thoughts about the show and how I think I'm starting to notice I'm caring a lot less as it goes on. For very I
What?
I loved the initial vibe of it being like, I liked the world that they had at the start. And I think the more that they're evolving into this like more dramatic, more like there's all this backstory and superhero stuff, it starts to feel more like a stereotypical kind of Marvel thing, or like the, all the other shows that they have and stuff like that. But I was vibing with like the first like 3 or 4 episodes, and it was literally just a sitcom, but they were 2 superheroes and they had superpowers and there was some weird stuff about. And like, I'm gonna keep watching. I'm not gonna like stop, but I'm on a very different wavelength than y'all on this. I'm like, I really am not as invested in this backstory and like.
Wait a minute, get Cal off the screen first.
You gotta have a dissenting opinion on this.
Lexie can't even look at you right now.
I can't just let that go.
Okay, first of all, you're talking about just this episode, right? This is when you get those vibes. No, I mean, right?
The last one I was kind of like, like I don't care about Agatha Harkness. I don't care about the fact that she was the one doing it all along. I don't care about S.H.I.E.L.D. I think Monica Rambeau is an interesting character. I think her might having some superpowers could be kind of cool. But like,
what about them pulling people through
with the hijinks and
Wait, so the backstory, like, okay, so I like this episode. I can see why people thought it was filler, because it was like, it was the backstory, like you going through, like trying to, I get that. Like, I see why people think that, but I liked it because of that, because it actually like ties in to all the movies. So you now realize like, oh, this is where the grief came in. This is how she fell in love with Vision. This is blah, blah, blah. Like you actually see that she's had her power since birth. So she's a mutant essentially, like it's tying in all these layers, and now it makes sense. Like, okay, like this is why everything happened. And like also showing us the lies, right? Through her eyes. So like, Hayward and them told us one thing, but now we're seeing what Wanda actually saw. Like, this is her story. But again, like, at the end of the day, I'm like, is this her story?
Kyle, did you watch all?
I don't know what Agatha's doing. But anyway, it was a good episode for the most part, because it like kind of tied it all with a bow, and now we know the backstory of things.
We went from, reach into my stone and tell me what you feel.
Yeah.
I only feel you. Which makes sense, because she got her powers from the Mind Stone, and he was powered by the Mind Stone. He's dead. The Mind Stone got ripped out by Thanos, and she puts her hand there, and I can't feel you. Come on!
Wow,
that's investment.
Damn, son, got me crying in the club.
That made me cry. That was
man.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That's
Kyle's still like, it sucked.
No, like I'm
go
not,
back to the 50s.
Like, shit on anyone who enjoys it. Like it's fine, it's fun, it's interesting. I was vibing with the early characters.
Know you
and
were.
The fact that you had like literally a sitcom, and now it's got all serious. I'm like, I was vibing with that lightheartedness and the
point of the sitcom was her trying to cover up her grief.
Oh yeah, no, he gets it. He gets it.
Oh,
he just doesn't care.
I would have been fine with her covering up the grief for 7 seasons.
He's a nihilist.
Kyle's like, kill the kids too.
Yeah,
kill the kids.
The show was better before the kids got there.
I mean,
more grief shows. More.
Oh my god! Somebody brought up the fact that they probably So at the end, or near the end, when she had the kids, somebody brought up the fact that she might not kill the kids because they want to keep those actors probably for Young Avengers.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. But then again, I'm like, maybe they will try to kill off the kids. And then it's like they get a teenage, the souls do the thing just like in the comics. And then they have teenagers that play roles as young Avengers, but I don't know.
I don't know. I think one thing I saw people talking about, because it doesn't appear there's going to be any big reveals we don't know about yet of like secret actors, because everything got leaked anyways. But there was that one mystery of who Paul Bettany was talking about when he wanted to act with this person his whole life, and now they're suspecting, because of the next episode, it appears that it's going to be a Vision versus Vision showdown, and that he was referring to himself. That the actor he's always wanted to go play with.
I was like, man, you got a big head to say that. Like, oh, I wanted to always work with this person. Oh, it's myself, baby. Like, y'all thought that it was somebody else coming in. No, I think the aerospace engineer still might show up. Or Dr. Strange.
And you think it's going to be John Krasinski and Pam from The Office and make your whole life happy?
I think it's going to be his wife, Emily Blunt.
No, it needs to be Pam. It should be Pam. I don't care about John Krasinski's real wife. He's with Pam in my head.
Oh my God. Shut up.
He should just be with
My prediction is that it will be Blue Marvel.
I don't know.
Why is that?
I don't know what that is. You have to enlighten the. I mean, Kyle doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know the comics. Probably explain it to him.
Blue Marvel is a character kind of similar to how people predict they're going to introduce the Fantastic Four. He and even a little bit of Century. He was a hero that was kind of there all along and had to fight through his arch nemesis, the antimatter man, who was essentially like, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I say no to Weebs kind of said it in the most basic way that you can say it. He's Black Superman, and in a way, he kind of is, but he's more. Whereas Superman is not like a super genius. In most portrayals of Superman, Blue Marvel is, and his arch nemesis killed his wife. And he's antimatter man, so they're literally like polar opposites of each other. But not only that, unfortunately with Chadwick Boseman's passing, it makes it a little difficult. But Blue Marvel and Monica Rambeau are best friends, and they've already introduced Captain Marvel. So the Ultimates, in Al Ewing's run of the Ultimates, is the team is made up of Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Blue Marvel, and Monica Rambeau and America. And America is part of New Avengers, who they already had cast her and said that she's going to show up in she's going to be a part of Multiverse of Madness as well. I think she might also be in Miss Marvel's show. So that would complete the Ultimates, while also this show helping fill out the New Avengers as well, because she's also in the New Avengers. But Blue Marvel is like really, really cool character. And he is like, obviously, with him being like I said, a super genius, part of his genius literally deals with matter and manipulation of it. So he's almost like an unofficial member, so to speak, of the Fantastic Four, and how his intellect is up there with Reed Richards as far as like understanding science and manipulating the stuffs.
So that's your prediction.
That Monica's boyfriend or no?
That's Jericho Drumm, that's Brother Voodoo, who is also getting introduced and is also supposed to be in the Multiverse of Madness. He's one of my favorite characters. He actually took over as Sorcerer Supreme for Doctor Strange at one point in time, and Rick Remender, one of my favorite writers, did it was a Dr. Voodoo, which is funny because he's also a doctor. By day, he's a doctor at a clinic giving out free care for people in New Orleans, and then by night, he's Brother Voodoo. And part of his whole thing is his brother died, so his brother's spirit is bonded with him. And man, that whole book, if y'all never read Dr. Voodoo, and Nightmare is in it, if y'all never read Dr. Voodoo, you want a super cool, like, mystical book, that is cool. And Doctor Strange is in it, and their interactions are very interesting. Two snobby, kind of know-it-all people, but Voodoo is more humble.
I don't think I know anything as much as you know about comics. Holy hell, dude. so much detailed backstory. This is I think it's interesting. I think it like
think about what you know is about butts. Which is a lot.
Yeah,
which
is true.
And then double it. That's what he knows about comic books.
But like, I think it's a great opportunity.
I need an intricate thesis next week on butts, just like that.
Yeah, I'll write it up. I got you.
Butts in the
Like,
chat.
I feel like
please.
it's a cool opportunity to like bring in new and interesting characters that like, because like there's a whole like, I don't know who Agatha Harkness was. I was not invested in that. Like, I don't know who that is. I didn't know about that in the first place. But like until y'all brought it up, and I'm like, all right, and I'm looking at the wiki page for her and like do some research on the back end into that. And like, so like I think
I'm gonna need to.
what? I don't read every damn comic book and know all the backstory. I'm not watching YouTube videos on who this person is the backstory. I'm just like, just vibing with the show, you know?
I think that's why you didn't
I'm
appreciate
too
that last
vibing.
episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I'm not. I will never ever be a like. Oh, I freeze frame that. Okay, if you zoom in on the coffee cup on the table, you can see right. Confirmed that he's actually working with Professor X here, because in the first X-Men movie,
I love that
we saw
stuff.
that same coffee cup on Professor X's table.
Yeah,
on his
they
desk.
do that. They do that, and it's good.
Yeah.
Like I was into that level of fandom for Game of Thrones, and now this one. It's the two ones.
Oh yeah,
where
like
all...
when the Starbucks cup, it meant that it's actually part of the greater universe, right? On how it's actually like a multiverse theory, right? And you can portal into our universe through the Game of Thrones universe.
You know what? You can go somewhere with that. So we got the last segment of the show. Let's kick it on over to Skip for Skip's comic book Skintinalido. I don't know. I'll work on that one. No, you just go. I got you next week.
Sounds like someone's getting a low blood sugar level and might need a dose of
slow down the alpha like a record.
Was there something good there? Skip's comic book skadoodle. How about that? There we go. I just needed a second.
Comic book skadoodle. Sounds like you need a cone of ice cream, my friend.
I
to
do.
Get those blood sugar levels back up. And I've got just the one for you. Obviously, very recently we've spoken about the Ice Cream Man book. We of course interesting progress has happened with the show. Even at the time that we were talking about it, the comic, because even at the time that we were talking about it before, it had already been optioned for a show. So it is hot. Everybody, of course, thinking about the Walking Dead effect, this independent comic book with very limited pressings and printings, now turning into a show with this Twilight Zone type flavor, pun intended. Kyle, we'll talk about butts later. You can put ice cream on them. Pretty cool. You know, this book is just so popular. I was telling Cory a set of just 1 through 20 went for $585 on eBay. I was watching it because I was trying to get the drop.
You said you were willing to pay. You were going up to $200, which is a commitment.
$250.
Yeah,
$250.
Yeah, you were going up all the way to $250, and this thing doubled past that. That's crazy. Okay,
more than double past.
Well,
that,
it's so good. Like it's written so well, and that you already nailed it. Like there's Twilight Zone, and then there's Black Mirror. Like there's a home and an audience for these types of things. So this has the potential to be an amazing show. Like I'm really looking forward to that. I hope it happens.
Me too, very much. All the makings are there. It would be, I feel, pretty difficult to mess up. And it is one of those things where with its existential horror that the cast and the crew themselves will just be so interested in it. It's not like majority of things that people would sign up to be a part of. So you got this Ice Cream Man figure who, you know, it always shows up in some sort of way inside of an issue. And this very one, this is issue number 1. So just introduces himself very unassumingly. And a kid comes up and gets his scoop, walks back home, goes into his house. He's calling for a spider. And once talks about how smelly it is in the house, just to get in there and see that his parents, you know, are dead in the kitchen. Rigor mortis is set in there stiff. And from there, it kind of, this one almost turns into a bit of a procedural where we have some detectives who are tapped to go and find out what's going on with the kid, what's going on with these people that they've been reported missing by their jobs. They haven't shown up in a while. All the while they go in there and the kid trailed off into the forest because his spider had gone off, and that's his only pet and only friend. You could tell he's kind of, someone who gets bullied and whatnot, unfortunately. But as he goes out there and ventures into the woods, he runs into the ice cream man half naked with his clothes kind of coming off, not in a sexual sense, but almost like in a Hulk sense, like he's transformed into something. And very mysterious, like the kid's like, what's going on? He's like, don't worry about it. Matter of fact, would you like some ice cream? Snaps and a cone just appears out of nowhere, and he gives it to the kid. The cops show up to the house, knock on the door. The kid's not there. They go inside, and the detectives are looking around. They find the dead parents, and the assistant detective, of course, the spider, never even left the house. The kid was wrong. He didn't get out. Crawls on the detective's shoulder and bites him. And some very, very interesting things happen from there. I don't want to give it all away because I do want people to go and read it. But the lead officer runs out the house, tries to trail the kid. And when she finds the kid, very interesting what's going on. Yeah. But it's stuff like that's the whole thing. It's like, who is this ice cream man? Why is he half naked? As if his clothes ripped off for him kind of transforming into something. He can just snap and ice cream appears. What's this whole thing about? So it's very, very interesting. You never get an ending that you can predict. And I'm pretty good at predicting things. There you go, Cory, with the Image First #1. So not an original pressing, but a physical copy of the #1 nonetheless. One of my favorite thing about Image Comics, if the book pops, they'll sell the #1s for $1. Pass around to your friends, get them interested. But it's unlike anything I've ever read. The closest thing I've ever experienced to it has been like Altered Carbon or The Twilight Zone. Super, super interesting. Everybody read it. You will not know what you just read. And if you dig a little deeper into some of the stuff that they might reference, because there's always some sort of reference, it's interesting. My favorite reoccurring theme outside of the ice cream man always appearing in some way is the constant like creeping dread and how they impose on you, like whether hook or crook, the worms will always get their food, and your worm food.
Dang, man, he did it again. That was like 3 times in one episode where he went full skip on us. I just like it. I think it's pretty cool. I like it because it reminds me of old Twisted Metal 2. It's always got like in Twisted Metal 2. There was this guy Calypso, and the art even seems similar. Like, if I'm holding up the art now, if you're watching us on Twitch, but like it's really creepy. It's good art, but the way the faces are done, they're just weird, creepy Cheshire smiles and stuff, and it lends itself well to that type of aesthetic. But anyways, that's kind of how it was back in Twisted Metal 2 for me, and there's like a lot of life lessons in each one. Like for everybody who won, there was always some monkey paw effect. And it always was trying to teach you about something about human nature or greed or all that kind of stuff. They sum it up really well. So I really like the book. I'm very thankful that Skip blessed me with a physical copy and turned me on to this one. So I recommend it to you guys too. That's the show, though. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We definitely appreciate the influx of downloads. It feels like it's been picking up, so thank you. While you're listening, rate the show 5 stars wherever you're listening to it, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean. I don't care where you're at. Just stop what you're doing, rate it 5 stars, maybe even do a review, say you like the show. We go through and try and read them, and it makes us feel good sometimes. So if you want to make us feel good, please do so. But Lexie, what's going on? What do you want to promote?
Y'all can keep following me on Twitter, LexieJPR.
Get those WandaVision deep thoughts.
Yeah, I put those out a lot. So if y'all want to see my thoughts on WandaVision, you can hit me up there. I will stream whenever I'm free. Eventually, it's been really busy. So, and
Fortnite trios are waiting.
He ain't kidding.
I appreciate that.
He ain't kidding. I played some Fortnite with my boy Kyle earlier this week, and we had a good old time, man.
We did all right. We did okay. We eventually did get beat by some absolute nerdy tryhard 13-year-olds who were like building up the boxes. And I'm like, dude, if you and me are staying in this field, I will kill you right now. But you're doing your whole little box building.
Oh yeah,
and I'm over it.
All building, no aim. It was fun though. Definitely a lot of fun. So what you been playing, or where can people get in contact with you?
Me?
Yeah,
Or
you.
Lexie?
No,
Me?
you. Lexie did hers.
Oh, I've still been grinding Valheim. That's the only game I've played in the last like 3 weeks. That game is so good. If I didn't convince you last time, let me convince you again. Play the game. Stop thinking, oh, it's got no good graphics. Minecraft didn't have good graphics, and it's an amazing game as well. Just play the game. It's $20. What do you have to lose? Great game, but yeah, I got nothing to drop yet. Still just working on secret cool stuff.
Poor you.
News. I might have some new news on future Kyle stuff, so that'll be pretty cool here in the next couple of weeks. So
all right,
get hyped for that. Cory and I might be in somewhat closer realms eventually.
Yeah, boy.
That'll be sick to see, hopefully. But yeah, follow me on Twitter, Kyle the Winner. I got occasionally some pretty fire tweets, I'm gonna lie.
Yeah,
I got some gems in there.
Yeah, tight. Skip, what's going on, man? Kings hit 500 yet?
Let's not talk about that. Let's just say the Kings snapped a 9-game losing streak.
Let's go.
To one of the worst teams in the league on one of the ugliest basketball games I've ever seen in my life. Maybe let's know. I don't know if we're going to go.
Okay, let's talk about good news, like the Sac Republic and getting to the MLS finally. Whew. Good thing there's no issues there.
I thought the deal fell through because they lost an investor.
Oh my God, we're screwed.
Okay. Good news.
So every other Monday, I do an indie comic stream.
Okay.
on my buddy Ash on Comics' YouTube channel. So this Monday is another one. We don't know the single issue that we're gonna do, but we are going through East of West, my favorite comic series of all time, with my favorite writer Jonathan Hickman, who wrote Infinity, which literally panels from that. We're in Infinity War. And Nick Dragata, my favorite artist of all time, who's also a friend of mine.
That's
like
me. Man.
So that's a very, very, very good series. And y'all can come and hear us talk about that and a mystery book.
Dang. And I got to give a shout out to Drew in the TARDIS in our chat. He subscribed to our Twitch for 45 months in a row. I didn't even know he had this channel that many months. That's insane, man. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us to have those OG fans sticking it out through the highs, the lows, and you're waiting for us in the middle. It's just a beautiful thing. I
have one thing to say before we get off.
What?
I would like to congratulate Cory.
Oh,
thank
you.
VP of Events Marketing at NRG.
Yeah, forgot about that.
No, really, Cory does a great job. He is such a great face of the community, helping everybody out on his adventures. I can't wait to see what he does in the future.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I got a little promotion at work. Figure I'll let the podcast people know. A little peek behind the curtain. But I was the VP of the San Francisco Shock, which was real fun. I was doing social media, marketing, all kinds of stuff. Basically everything that's not competitive for the Shock. I got approached, by the higher ups, the brass, and they offered me pretty much an opportunity I could not refuse. A very exciting opportunity. It's going to definitely be the hardest thing I've ever done. 100%. It's VP of event marketing, and the first project, and this isn't just me being dramatic, like the owner of the company told me, when I was accepting the job, he said, your first game is going to be the Super Bowl. So be on your shit because there's no room for error here. So I'm very excited to tackle this new opportunity. Keep an eye on my socials, on the Twitters at that's the show one, at What's Up Pizzas, if you want to kind of take this journey with me. But I appreciate the love, support, everything. Definitely the crazy thing to think about, I wouldn't have near that opportunity without this show. So this show definitely made my dreams come true. And it also just made my dreams come true because I get to hang out with these amazing people each week. Lexie, Kyle, Skip, some of my best bros. Thank you guys so much for doing the show every week. We will see everybody next week for Lexie, Skip, Kyle. My name is Cory saying you just got banged.